the show that reveals how extraordinary items in our world are designed, constructed and produced. See the engineering, the technology and big ideas that make the world go round. Find out how it works. Coming up in today's show, this unusual fountain will become a candle to create a romantic mood or just help warm your cuppa. Find out more about the Tealight. We'll visit the avocado plantations of South Africa to learn more about this delicious, nutritious fruit. And Santa's Secrets, a story wrapped in festive cheer. How Christmas paper is designed and produced to present the perfect present. But first, cycling is very popular. So popular in fact that police estimates show more than 70 bicycles are stolen in London every day. And it's as easy as this. Many experts believe it's not just careless owners but substandard locks that make it all too easy for bike thieves to get away with it. You need a hardened hardcore super lock, like this one. A quality D-lock starts out as a long bar of preformed steel. The first part of the process is to give it its characteristic D shape. These preformed bars are fed into an enormous press. Using a massive 30 tons of pressure, it effortlessly folds the steel in half. Now you may think steel is a tough enough metal to do the job. However, extensive research by the boffins in the white coats has shown that it's actually very easy to break with the right tools. One of the real secrets to the modern D-lock's strength is a process known as hardening. The bent bars are superheated to a massive 1000 degrees Celsius. Then, before they have a chance to lose any heat, they are quickly plunged into a bath of oil. The combination of superheating them followed by rapid cooling hardens the surface but leaves the internal metal supple. This bar is unhardened or soft steel. It doesn't even last 1 second against strong bolt cutters. Now the hardened steel, and as you're about to see, it's our lock testing strongman who will bend first. To prove how tough hardened steel is to break, the lock is placed in an automated bolt cutter which can measure the force it's exerting. It still takes this powerful vise some time to do the job and a staggering 13 tons of pressure to actually break through the bar. It's pretty safe to say there aren't many bike thieves that can exert 13 tons of pressure by themselves. For the lock to work, an invisible laser is used to precisely align each D-shaped bar. Then, to protect your bike from any damage caused by super tough steel, they are wrapped in a protective rubber layer. Now it's time to make the lock, which starts with the keys. 2 blanks are selected and they're fitted into the cutter. The keys are then cut according to the number assigned to them by the computer. This number is printed onto a card which then tells the lockmaker how to build the right lock. Along with the keys, each lock is assigned a code card that will tell the factory how to cut replacements if the keys are ever lost. Once completed, she will test the barrel works with the 2 pre-cut keys. The next team on the assembly line can now put together the entire D-lock using all of the different parts. Some of these bits are put together using mechanical pressure to ensure that a strong person couldn't simply pull them apart. There are also a lot of tricky little secrets to these locks which need to remain secret for security. Before the locks are sent to the stores, they're tested to destruction under strict laboratory conditions. Each new prototype of lock is tested rigorously to help work out whether it will stand up to the onslaught of a determined thief. The lock experts will use every method they have ever come across, from extremely powerful hammers and weights to plain old brute force, to try and break their latest design, hopefully with no success. While criminals are continually trying to break the locks, D-locks like these improve the owner's chance of thwarting the thieves. Candles are often associated with romantic dinners for two, but one of the most popular is the simple Tealight. They're easy to use, but what goes into making one? To make tea lights, you need wax. The ideal wax is paraffin. A byproduct of petrol production, it's perfect for tea lights as it goes from solid to liquid very quickly. Liquid paraffin is easy to transport in tankers like this, which are heated to 50 degrees Celsius. Now, to make a candle, you might think it would make sense to suspend a wick in a small cup of liquid paraffin. However, this method would take far too long. Instead of waiting for the wax to solidify, the body of the candle is made first and then pressed around the wicks. Step 1 is to make the liquid paraffin solid. The liquid wax is sprayed at very high pressure into the air and lands on a rotating drum. Here the droplets cool down and go hard. As the drum turns full circle, a scraper on the opposite side removes the hardened wax. In this granulated form, it's now ready to be put into the machine that compresses it into shape. The next step is to turn the powdered paraffin into the solid blocks that form the main part of the tea light, and that happens here. Inside this fast-moving carousel of powdered wax and hot industrial machinery, the blocks are being formed. Slowed down, you can see each space being filled with a preset amount of powdered wax. As it continues round, the wax is then compressed into shape. This demonstration shows how the machines keep a hole through the middle. The wick will be inserted here later in the production process. A similar cylinder presses down from above and squeezes the paraffin together so hard it becomes a solid block once more. Only now it's the right shape for the tea light cups and has a handy hole ready for the wick. The compressed discs of paraffin are then ejected from this machine and sent on to join millions of others ready to be turned into tea lights. The next step is the wick. No candle would work without one. Ordinary string burns off too quickly. However, a thick coating of wax slows down the burning process, and this combination makes the ideal wick. As the drum rotates, it pulls the string through hot liquid wax. Once the wax has cooled, the drum passes the string back into the wax again for another coat. This continues until the coating has built up to a thickness of 2 mm. The perfect width for the tea light hole. The fresh wick is then collected onto these drums, which feed into the assembly machine where the paraffin discs are already waiting. Here they will be cut to size to be inserted. But not just yet. Tea lights need 2 more important items. Paraffin heats quickly and turns to liquid, so without a holder, things would get very messy very quickly. Thousands of fresh cups are added into the machine, but some of them are the wrong way round. There isn't actually a problem with them, but a solution is needed. Luckily, this machine has one built in. Any cups that are upside down are removed from the line with a high-pressure blast of air. They must go round the system again and again until they are the right way up. Facing the right way round, the cups enter the assembly machine here. However, there's one final detail that needs a solution. If you put the wicks in now, they just fall straight back out again. That's where the all-important bases come in. Fitted with the wick, they'll keep it in place in the Tealight's hull. With all 4 pieces in place, production can now begin. First, the wick is cut to the right size. It's inserted into a base and sealed into place. Discs of paraffin are fed in and the wicks are poked through the ready-made holes. And the whole completed candle is passed on to be fitted neatly into the perfect sized holder. The completed Tealight is then ejected from the assembly machine, ready to be bagged up and sent on to the shops. Tealight candles are available in many stores around Britain and have a variety of different uses. They're popular in homes where they can create atmosphere like a romantic setting or be used to heat an incense oil burner. But it may surprise you to learn that they were originally designed to keep a pot of tea warm, which is where the name Tealights comes from. Still to come, what are these alien-looking implements? Vital tools for harvesting the popular avocado. Find out more about this coveted crop later. And the secrets of seasonal gift wrap unwrapped, the artistic process that prints thousands of tubes of Christmas wrapping paper. This is an avocado, a very versatile fruit. It's used in a variety of cuisines and has a surprising bonus. It's good for your skin too. They can be expensive, and here's why. Harvesting them is hard work. The world's largest producer is Mexico, where they grow nearly 1 million tons a year. But our journey begins in South Africa. During the harvest season, workers head for the fields armed with these collecting devices. Each pole is around 3 meters long and on the end is a bag with a cutter attached. The worker will place the bag under the ripe avocado and pull the string at his end, which activates the cutter. The freshly cut fruit falls into the waiting bag below and the worker can collect the avocados down at ground level. It's important not to drop them, as the buyers from around the world will only buy undamaged fruit. The harvest is then sent to this enormous processing plant. The first step for the fruit is a good bath to make sure they're clean and safe to eat. We just can't seem to get enough of the avocado here in the UK. In just 10 years, from 1994 to 2004, imports doubled from 15,000 tonnes a year to nearly 30,000. The quality inspector keeps a close eye on the produce and rejects any that have obvious damage or problems. Western consumers have very specific ideas about how a fruit should appear when they buy it, so standards have to be kept high. Any avocados that don't come up to this strict standard are sent to the reject bin, but they aren't thrown away. They're sent here. This enormous hopper contains all the ugly or undersized fruit, and because they're not good enough, they'll be crushed and boiled. The pulp is then squashed, and what emerges from the machine is a water-oil mix. Once separated from the water, the oil is a valuable byproduct sold to the cosmetics industry. Avocado oil acts as an excellent moisturizer and helps stop the skin from aging. The pulp that's left over isn't wasted either. It's passed out of the factory into a waiting tank. Every day, tractors arrive and take it back to the plantation where it will act as the perfect fertilizer for the avocado trees. With only the best avocados remaining in the factory, the workers can now get about the task of grading and separating them. The key to the grading system is the avocado's weight, and this factory works with 6 different size groups. Each worker has to pack around 14,000 avocados, which is a delicate job. Before it can be packed up, there's one last test to undergo. This machine determines whether the fruit is ripe yet. Ironically, softer fruit is rejected. At this stage, they should be hard. In our modern world of mass production, fruits like these ripen on the journey to the supermarket shelf. Once the fruit is ready for shipping, the workers start packing. Each box needs to be filled carefully so the fruit doesn't get damaged in transit. The prepared boxes, which weigh about 4 kilograms each, are now sent to a giant fridge. Cooling the fruit slows down the ripening process like your fridge at home. This way it doesn't over-ripen during its long journey from Africa to our supermarket shelves. Enormous pallets of thousands of avocados are loaded into a gigantic chilled storage container. Meanwhile, a quality controller checks the fruit are chilled to about 6 degrees Celsius. When he's satisfied, the trucks are called in and the fruit pallets are loaded up. They're then taken straight to the waiting ships to bring them over to Europe, the USA and everywhere else in the world where they enjoy avocados. So whether it's served sliced or sauced, this exotic fruit that's often taken for granted is delivered to the dinner table thanks to an exhaustive industrial process. No, Christmas hasn't come early this year, but have you ever wondered about how that wrapping paper is made? Christmas wouldn't be the same without the brightly coloured gift wrap, and the first step in making this mass-produced festive paper starts in the design studio. Traditionally, Christmas wrapping paper includes plenty of green to remind us of Christmas trees, red for Santa's outfit, and gold for the expensive presents wrapped inside. Once the designer is satisfied with her image, it's passed on to the graphics department. Their job is to make up the print image that will appear over and over on the wrapping paper. Each design is broken down into its separate colours so the printers can prepare the right shades of each paint. Each colour has its own roller. This machine engraves the template for each colour onto these copper cylinders using a diamond-tipped hammer. 4,000 holes are made every second. When the roller is complete, the examiner pulls out his microscope to check the template thoroughly. He needs to make sure the rollers have enough detail to print the colour they are assigned to. Otherwise, another engraving will have to be made again from scratch, which would be very expensive. Now, copper isn't a very strong metal, so next the rollers are bathed in a bath of liquid chromium. This process, called galvanization, will ensure the detail on the roller remains robust. That way, it won't wear out as it's used over and over again to print all that wrapping paper. The next stage of the job is to start printing. This 30-meter-long printing press will turn one enormous roll of recycled paper into hundreds of meters of Christmas wrapping paper. The paper used is the same as they would use to print magazines or even your daily newspaper. A quick quality control check is made before the print run starts. Gold will form the background colour for this print, so it's applied first. Bucket after bucket will be added to the feeder vat, which sends the paint up to be used on the first roller. The clean white paper is moved into place and the first background appears as if by magic. What appears does look a little unusual, but you can make out the gaps for the other colours. The freshly printed gold and white paper connects up to the yellow roller. Red follows. And blue comes next. But why blue? Well, it's used because when combined with yellow, you get green for the Christmas trees. Only once the engineers are completely happy with the background colours do they add black. This helps define the final picture. Much like the office photocopier, even these professional printing presses can sometimes jam. It's a fiddly job, but the engineers have to feed the paper through the system to catch up with the last good bit. Incredibly, when problems occur with this complex machine, there is a surprisingly simple fix: a piece of sellotape. To ensure there are no unwanted alignment problems, this camera takes digital pictures throughout each print run. A worker using a computer can continually check to make sure the colours are all in the right place. When all the colours have been applied, you end up with a staggering 9.5 kilometres of wrapping paper. Now, a roll that big would be a little hard to get home from the shops, so the next stage is to cut it down into more manageable sizes. 2 meters is normal. That's just enough to wrap 3.5 average-sized presents, typically leaving a big, unusual shaped bit that won't wrap anything. Once it's cut, it's then wrapped up in cellophane rolls, which are passed through miniature heaters, and finally the rolls are sent on to the packing department. 3,600 rolls can be produced every hour by this machine, more than enough for a very good Christmas. Have you ever noticed how a box of Christmas paper rolls at the store always has a wide variety of different designs inside? This machine is designed to select 2 or 3 rolls from each of the different designs the company has produced that year and put them together with other prints. They'll then be boxed up ready for the stores, so when you get there you've got a wide variety to choose from. So when Christmas rolls around, now you'll know what went into the wrapping paper as well as the gift.